All right, where are we? We're in the we have the Star Spangled. We're in the Star Spangled tournament. We're in the opening round. I'm going to play my practice account, and then Dunner and I are going to play this afternoon. I got a busy night tonight, but Dunner and I are going to play this afternoon when he gets off work and get our main accounts through, and then we'll see where it goes. I will tell you that at this point in the tournament, it's good to have notes. Unfortunately, I don't have any notes, so I'm going to be writing notes while I'm doing this, and then tonight, Dunner has a bunch of elevation numbers. I know some of these holes just from playing them over the years, so there's a few of them that I do know how to play, and we'll have to make notes for him for all of them. Let me get my note sheet, my Flintstone note sheet going here. 8, 17, 9, 18. All right, hole number 1, and I'm gonna make, this is the Star Spangled banner, Star Spangled tournament. And this is gonna be a rock and a kingmaker. Now I should be in minimum sniper, so if I'm in sniper, it's 1.3 per ring. 1.2, 1.0. If I'm in my grizzly, I'll be at max club. And I'm gonna have to figure out how I want to play the grizzly here, and I'm gonna take off some wind. I'm gonna do 0.95 to the cup. I tried 10. I'm gonna work it right here. We're gonna figure it out right here and now. Bag number 2 with the kingmaker. Kingmaker. Here we go. Now this is Greenock Point, which is my absolute favorite course in all of Golf Clash. They've changed some of the holes, but the original configuration of that, when you got to that course, it used to be in Tour 5. So by the time you got to Tour 5, you had kind of like, you were working on getting your clubs to mid-level. That course has a ton of blind curl shots and stuff that you have to learn how to do in order to play that course successfully. And this hole right here is very indicative of that. Just doing a blind curl shot. It's a shot that you have to practice with the clubs that you have, and every time your clubs go up, you'll have to readjust. I'm trying to, it could, because I was just trying to get into this area right here, but now I'm trying to get greedy and I'm trying to get all the way through the mouth. I think I'm like 4 rings, 3.5, 4 rings of separation, maybe 4.5 rings. There's a spot. You can go out here and get on it and really try and get through the gap. I'm going to do 4 rings. I'm trying to go off of that transitional point up there and trying to extrapolate kind of what 4 rings would look like. I'm going to do a 10%, so I'm going to do 3 rings. Max curl. Little teeny bit of overpower. Hitting it perfect. And see if I can shoot the gap. I think I'm in just a little too far. Perfect. Perfect. But that's definitely a shot that you have to practice with your clubs, because you have different curl, you'll have different topspin, but I put on, 5, 6 topspin right there, and you have room with a rock. A QB does the same thing. With a QB, because you have less distance, you'll find yourself on the tee box side of that last little gap a lot, right there in the mouth. And that can be a little bit of a dangerous area. Okay, minus 0.95. Hey, 0.95 times whatever the wind is. And I am in max grizzly. 3.8 equals 3.61 rings. .61 rings. That was 361 exactly. Hitting it perfect. Get in the hole. Yeah, that's going to be off. And right there, I didn't pull it enough. I know in the past we've played this with minus numbers, but I took that shot the other day and I did minus 10 and I was even farther off. So I'm gonna try and get on the other side. So I'm gonna do a plus 10 so that I can see like where my range is at, because I know that the minus number is not working. At least it's not working for me. And this is one of those things about like elevation where, like, if you look at it in the game, the green is definitely uphill from where you're hitting, and you should be taking some wind off, and it's not. And it might be because of the bounce down at the bottom. The bounce down at the bottom is pretty level with where you're at. We will see. I'm working on it. That's not. In the past, I've made a lot of eagles on this hole, but this isn't one of those holes that I get eagles on all the time. That it is a tough eagle, but it is definitely makeable. Hole number 2. Hole number 2. I made this the other day. All right. And I have 0 notes on this, but I'm pretty sure that we were doing it with a navigator and a sniper. Let's see which way the wind's blowing. This was... Let's see which way the wind's blowing, because we were having to push up a little bit of wind in order to get back to the spot. Just a 1-to-1, I think. And then a half a ring. All right. We'll try it. The worst we can do is fail. That's why we have a practice account. Navigator. I'm going to try 1-to-1. And then push up a half a ring. Or 3-2. I'm just going to do the 3-2. I'm just going to do a 1-to-1 and really pay attention to where it lands. Hitting it perfect. See if it lands dead center in the middle of that. Ooh, it barely hit it. So you definitely need to push it forward more, or add more wind on it for a headwind for sure. There must have been like somebody must have walked through the sand and folded over a couple of blades of grass, because it hit right on the edge of the sand trap. Luck. If you can't be good, be lucky. That's the deal. Let's see if my opponent can get in. Normally on those rough bumps, like if I'm playing with Kevin, he's got the numbers on those rough bumps, because he's like our buddy Kyle. Like, there was never a rough bump they weren't willing to try. All right, did not make that. But I am going to make a note here. Because that was push up or add on. And don't hit that to the left. In the hole. That would not be a pretty sight if a porta potty flipped over on you. Hole number 3. What is hole number 3? These mixed courses, I can't remember. I can barely remember courses to begin with, but let alone these mixed ones. All right, let's see which way the wind's blowing, because I've got 2 different ways. Okay, the wind is helping us out here. So I think I've got a berserker. I'm working on the second shot because I don't get to take this second shot very often. Working on it. Use the wind, and I'm going to take my number 5 bag. Let's see what kind of topspin I got here. All right, if the wind is blowing anything other than tailwind, I'm playing to the right. And I'm playing way out to the shadows, although if you play over by the bunker, you got a killer rough bump. Like killer rough bump. If you play over to the shadows, you got to come right at it. You're kind of taking the rough bump out of play. So you have 2 different ways you can go at it on the right. But there is a shot on the left. And the berserker, or the Apocalypse, helps because it's got that extra raw distance, that 3 yards of distance. Topspin is helpful, but the extra raw power is big. It's not that you can't do it with an extra mile, especially depending on which way the wind's blowing. Hit a 1 ring grate, maybe 2 rings grate to the right. I got a little bit of room on the right. It depends on how it hits that rough. There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Now you have a straight up. If you can get up there far enough, and I didn't put all the topspin on, it was more important to get it around the bend so you were going down the mouth. So I tried to balance it out. I put as much side spin on, right hand side spin, and then I put however much topspin I had left. But I could have backed off the side spin a little and put on a little bit more topspin. But you can see the angle. If you're on the inside if you're to the left of where I'm at, you run out of fairway. And then you can very easily end up in the rough over there. And you can make that shot. You can recover from over there. Now, it seems like I need to add on some. Seems like I took the shot that I took from over here. Now they're going to have a more straight up shot at it. See if I was able to eke into my grizzly range. Excellent. Again towards max. Can ask for, I mean, if I can hit this perfect, I got a killer shot of it going in. 3.2 rings. Hitting it perfect. Just a bit outside. Didn't pull it enough, and I did a 10% pull right there. I'm going to do a plus 20 on that. So I'm playing that different. So if I can get over to that side, you're in long iron. If you're on the other side, you're in wood. I came out here the other day, and if I'm playing the other side, if I'm playing to the right, I'm playing it like I do it in one-on-one. I'm just bringing out a marlin, and you can bring a rock or a QB, whichever one is, whatever is the one that you use as your accurate club, and going out there with a marlin and a sniper, or I'm using a guardian. Actually, I've hit. This is a hole that I've never hit. I don't remember ever having made in a tournament. It's not to say that I haven't, but I don't remember making it. But I've made it a ton of times, and I've actually had problems with this hole. The reason that I started playing on the side that I just played is because I was like sick of this hole. This hole kept, for some reason, this hole was kicking my ass with good stuff. But I'd come out here in one-on-one, and I was getting albies, so I decided not to play with the good stuff. I would just play like I do in one-on-one and take my chances. But if the wind's blowing right, I'm playing that side right there. I think I have a much better shot with a long iron, and you're going straight up the hill. So if you're on that hole and you're coming at it, there's like the 3 different ways. If you're right here by the sand trap, like if you watch how Dunner's playing, and he's playing right next to the sand trap, and what that does is that opens up your angle for this rough bump. So you have, the more you're this direction when you come at it, the more spin you have to put on, or the closer you have to get to the transitional surface. And he's on a straight path. So in this area down here, I'll zoom in on it, in that area he's got 2 rings in the rough in the first cut. So he's got nice separation on either side. The problem here is he's clear on the right, but if he hits a great to the left, he takes the risk of the second bounce hitting that rough, and if it hits that rough, it'll almost immediately die. Occasionally it'll roll out, but it's kind of a 50-50 deal. Sometimes it'll roll out, and sometimes it'll get caught right there, so you definitely don't want to hit anything to the left. The one from over here, you're on that straight T, so you've got good left or right, and the second bounce is not in risk at any way, shape, or form, but you can only get over to that side with tailwind. If you're playing from the spot that I'm playing at, your angle comes in like this, and so there's a ridge right here, and that ridge breaks to the left. And then on the other side over here, it kind of flattens out, and it will kind of just roll like it bowls out over there. But if you're coming in from this angle, you have to contend with that ridge, and you may have everything right, but it breaks at the very end of the shot. And you had everything right, you just didn't account for the break. That's why this hole is difficult from this spot. If you're trying to hit into the shadows, you're pretty much coming at it. It is difficult, but it's also very easy to get up there and get your eagle and move the hell on. There are risks with the rough bump. Hole number 4. I talked about that hole for so long. Look, it restarted the game. All right. What is hole number 4? Hole number 4. Da 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 da. Are you gonna let me touch the screen? I have to go to Tommy's site. All right, I love this hole. Okay, 50%, 1.5 times. 1.5 times. Hey, quit dinking around here. It wasn't counting the 5. Set my calculator. Hole, I'm taking any bag will work. And a katana. Now, I know you can do the shot with the Grizzly, and you can do the shot with any of them, but as far as like ball guide goes, the Grizzly works really well. If you're using a club that doesn't have as much ball guide, you'll have to find a spot out there and try and work that spot. But with the Grizzly, you can get your ball guide all the way back down to the cup. If you have a thorn's probably got, and you won't need to use all the backspin on the thorn. Although you probably could put it all on there and get closer to the cup. But sometimes when you put a lot of backspin on like that, the ball sucks back and it changes its trajectory, and you want it to kind of just do its thing. Now, there are a ton of different ways that you can play this hole. You can play where my opponent's out down there at the bottom, which is not my preferred method. It would be my least favorite, because if you hit a little to the left, you're on the flatter and it's going to take a flat bounce. And if you hit a little to the right, or excuse me, the opposite, if you get, it'll take a big bounce. It can go all over the place. You can hit from the top of the hill. I hit from the top of the hill up here for a long time. There's also a rough bump you can do. That is very makeable from there, but that is no bueno. 3.3. Hey, get where I can see you, damn it. Five rings. Isn't it perfect? I had to take a little bit of spin off of that. I thought it was set up for 3. Woo! In the hole. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there. 50% adjustment. You got to turn that thing around. The deal is that if you look at it from like the normal angle that we look at them, it looks like it's going towards the hole, but you got to spin it around so that you can really see where the tail's going. I'll have to go back and watch that video to see how much spin I put on it, because I thought it was 3. And I think you can do 3. I could probably move that around. Like pull it closer to the hole so that but I'll have to go back and look at that. But that 50% shot from the green, it's almost impossible to screw that up. I mean, you may not make the hole in one, but it's almost impossible not to be on the green just taking a putt, moving the hell on. And you got a killer chance at a hole in one. All right. Hole number 5. What is hole number 5? All right. This is the first par 4 I ever hit a hole in one on. And I've been having problems with it. So let's just go out there and play it like one-on-one. This is what I would normally bring in one-on-one. Well, I would normally play it with a marlin, but we'll see what way the wind's blowing. The wind's blowing with us, so I really don't need that big a ball. I think I can actually get this done with a katana. Instead of the king of balls bringing out a cat. Let's try that out. I might have to. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We're just going to go play it. Somebody on my channel commented about going to the left. You can go to the left. And I think there's actually, if you brought out a big enough ball, like looking at the arcs, there might be a way that you can go like first bounce over to the other side and just do the deal. Like getting up into that area. See, I've got a 2-power ball, and if I got up into that area, I could really bring it around. I'm going to use a Titan. The king of balls. That's right. That's right. .30. I'm going to take off half. There's 3. I'm only going to take off 2. Hitting it perfect. And I don't think I needed to put that overpower on there, but I did. And if you can't be good, be lucky. Hit the tree. There we go. The deal is I should have taken out the angle for all of the wind and then pushed back in half of it. And put a little teeny bit of overpower, like rub up against the nubs. That area down there, you're doing the bouncy bounce and you're going over water and you're doing stuff. Anytime, Golf Clash has always had like unique stuff as far as like how the ball reacts when it's around water and sand, and it always seems like it's short on this hole. Wind should not be a factor. In the hole. Excellent. Woo! That's what I'm talking about right there. This isn't quite a must get, but you really need to get this. And I know that you can go on the left-hand side, you can go over there and just lay it up and then take a long iron into it, and you're coming in, the angle that you're coming in, I played it that way when I first started playing. It was kind of risky playing to the right. The deal is that you're, in my opinion, you're better off in the sand over on the right or the rough. You got a better straight up shot at it. All you got to do is hit it perfect. Whereas if you're on the left hand side, even if you hit it perfect, you got, everything's got to be right. But you might be able to, let's go look at that hole. You might be able to, if you bring out a big enough power ball, catch the fairway over here. So from the tee box, to this area, and then swing this gap so that your first landing zone's here, and then you're bringing it around. You could probably do that with an extra mile, and you wouldn't have to put, you just want to get your top spin far enough out so that you're in that rough area in front of the sand, or in between the sand and the trees right there. You might have a better shot with a rock or an apocalypse, got more curl. If you brought out a big enough ball and could get your big topper there, a big topper would work for sure. But I don't know if you could get that distance even with a big ball with a big topper. I will continue to go straight at it. Hole number, what hole are we on here? We're on the next hole. That's what we're on. We are on hole number 6. Hole number 6. What is hole number 6? I should make some notes here. So hole number 5, I was bringing an extra mile and a Titan. And hole number 4, that is a Grizzly. Plus 50%. Katana. Hole number 3. I've been shooting them, so that this one depends. It depends on the wind. So I'm just going to write my numbers for the shot to the cup. Hole number 6. All right. Hold on 1 second. All right, was that 1 second? Okay, I had to talk to a man about a horse. Okay, let's think here. So, let me see which way the wind's blowing. Let's see which way the wind is blowing, so we'll know what we, all right. Now, I actually got too far up in there. I'm going to do plus 20 on the drive. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and land in this zone right here and bring it around the bend and try and run up this. But the other day, so I've ended up in the rough like everybody else a bunch of times, but I did make it into the clear, I think twice. And the first time I was like out in this area and I made an adjustment and I got farther up. And then when I got the farther up one, I actually was too close and my upward arc encountered this tree. And so if I'd have been a little bit further back, I would have been like at the apex and I would have cleared that tree. So the first shot, I had the shot that I want. I'm trying to do a dunk with my Guardian. But the second time I was too far forward and couldn't do it and had to land behind it and was trying to pull it back. And I had a shot to get up there, but I didn't have a shot at it. So let's not hit it as far. And I brought out, because side spin's king, I brought out one of those, and I don't have any in this account. I brought out one of those 5 power 0 wind balls, but it was 5 power 5 side spin 0 wind. I'm doing a dunk, so 0 wind is like, okay, it's higher, but it's still a doable number. But I do have some 444s. And I'm going to take it with an APOC. What kind of curl did I got there? 92. I could get more with my rock, but I think I'd have to do overpower with my rock. So I'm going to use an APOC. Let's switch this bag up. APOC. Guardian. Grizzly, Hornet, Nirvana. The usual suspects, the Rapier, Nirvana, and Spitfire. I think everything looks good. I am ready. All right. And I was doing, if I remember correctly, I was doing plus 15 to the cup. Is where I left off. All right, this is definitely one shot at a time. One shot at a time. Let's see what kind of wind we got. 3-2. They're using a 3-2-3-4. Now they're using a Zerk. That is not the shot they were looking for. Maybe. That might be the one. Getting out there into the rough is not a bad deal. I want to be as far down into that cup as possible. 3-1. That'd be like 3-6. It's 1.5 per ring, so it'd be like a ring and a half, or 2.5 rings. Excuse me. Hitting it perfect. Now let's see where it lands. That's good. All right. 338. 338. APOC. Power 4 ball. 444. I'm convinced that the 444s, I can see like having a 4 power ball that's got some topspin boost. And I suppose if you have mid or lower level clubs, having some backspin boost on something like that might not be a bad deal. But 444s overall, I mean, are pretty awesome balls. Pretty awesome. Let's see if we can get in the hole. So 1.15 times 8.3 equals divided by 1.1, 3.45. Man. I think that tree's gonna get me. See if I can get it. Don't hit the tree. The bad news is you don't. It's a sucky deal from up here at the top, but when I was right at the cup, I wasn't right at the cup right there, and when I put it right at the cup on the initial setup, I was clipping that tree, so I was trying to stay in front. I was trying to stay in front of the cup a little bit. I've been landing behind the cup, so I wasn't too concerned. I think I still got too much distance. I need to be a little bit farther back. In the hole. Whew. Recovered. If you play with the rape, you hardly ever have to play with it like that, but it's super accurate. And you can hit it just like an in-bringer, great to the left or the right. There's a lot of times where we should probably play it, where we get up close like that, as opposed to running. Anytime you're running your topspin out, and the course is moving your topspin around and you're getting like a little snake pattern, you should probably just put on a couple backspin and get up close to the hole so that the course isn't, because if you hit it great to the left or the right, now you're relying on the course, so now you've hit farther up on a hill, so when it comes off the other side it drops more to the other side, and so you can end up being off when you get down to the cup. All right. Hole number. I need to make sure I put a guardian. I need to find the right distance out there so I know I've got a shot at it. Damn it. All right, I played this with. All right. Where was I at? I'm not sure that I've hit this perfect going into the cup. But I'm going to take a katana, and you have a great look at a hole-in-one if you bounce it over the sand. So on this hole right here, there's several different ways to play this, and depending on what tees you're playing it from, you can bounce it off. If you're in rookie, you can bounce it off from out here and go over the sand, second bounce over and come up. You got to watch where your second bounce is at. So you want to be close enough to the sand. You're probably going to be like 2 rings off from the sand. And you got bounce number 1, bounce number 2, give yourself a couple rings. So if the wind, especially if you got a tailwind or a headwind and it's you're going to get that second bounce on the fairway here, and if it's off, it may just dribble on. You don't want to be long here, so you don't want to stretch out too much topspin. If you don't have a club that's got great ball guide, it doesn't take a lot, but a couple. I'm going to hit from right here. But in pro, this is a little bit more difficult, and you find yourself in pro hitting out in this area. What's funny about this green is that it, from this direction, everything kind of moves towards the cup. So like you could start off way off here on the side and bring it around and it'll roll up there. It's totally blind. This hole is tough from the Masters tees. Depending on what level of clubs you have, this hole can be, this is one of those par threes that it can, and depending on which way the wind's blowing, the shot that's down here where you're doing the bounce over, it grate to the left or the right going over all that sand, and you could find yourself in big trouble. Big. But it's very makeable from that side. I don't know why I don't play from over there, but I just like playing it this way. That's why. I know what the shot is from over there, but I like playing that. The big backspin shot. The truth is I probably should switch because I don't make that many hole-in-ones on this hole. I have made a few, but I don't make that many. Let's try it. Let's do the bounce over. Why not? Why not? I probably don't need the ball that I have. That's okay. There's min. I'm at minimum club. .2, I'm going to do 2.4, and I'm at minimum. I'm just going to do the 2.4. We'll see if that was an overpull. Oh, then I hit it great. On the side that we were trying to see if I hit it, did an overpull. Now that might have been right. That was just a 1-to-1. That was 1 per ring. With the 10%. Even though I was at minimum club. I think if I'd hit that perfect, I'd have missed it on the other side. I wouldn't have pulled it quite enough. But it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell when a ball bounces out because there's some holes where you can, like they have, you're on one side of the hill or the other, and if you hit it, it'll end up on the opposite side. You hit it to the left, but it went by the cup on the right. You hit it to the right, and it goes by the cup on the left. You have no idea. You can look down from the tee box down to that area, and there's a ton of movement. All right. Hole number 7. I will play it that way. I haven't played it that way in a long time. I'll play it that way. So sniper, and I have no idea as of yet until I can hit a perfect in there what to do. So I'm just gonna hit 1-to-1 and see where I'm at. Hole number 8. Hole number 8. I think we're getting down to, I think there's a couple. Okay, we got a par 4 here, and this one's really going to depend on which way the wind's blowing. And that wind is not helpful. If there's a tailwind, so on this hole, here is the risk. When we talk risk versus reward, the risk. Okay, I think, and I could be wrong, but I know for a fact that at least this cut of the rough, anything that's in here is OB, out of bounds. That is a risk. And it might be, and you guys can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it might be this cut of the rough is OB. And this is kind of like old school stuff, because when the game first came out and you had multiple cuts of rough like this, that the first cut and the second cut were part of the course, but anything that was beyond that was OB. And I can think of several holes right now that OB is in the water, where OB used to be the rough before the water. And so that's big risk. But if you got a tailwind, it's hard to do. If you have a pure tailwind, you might get lucky with just like a regular 5-power ball. But if you've got a topspin boost 5-power ball, or even like a 4 topspin boost 4-power ball, you might be able to get through to the other side. Break on through to the other side, right? And you want to aim this tree right here. You want to aim like just a little bit to the left of that. There is a branch. Dunner and I both found it. When you're on this trajectory going to this tree right here has you can see where the shadow comes out. Let me see if I can scroll a little bit closer. You can see where the shadow comes out right here. This shadow. Well, this limb that's creating that shadow has a freaking branch off of it with one little leaf, and you can hit that leaf. That leaf is in play. And you don't see that leaf when you're setting the shot up. That leaf isn't there, but that leaf is in play. So you do not want to hit. You don't want to push yourself up against this tree to try and create a little bit of separation when you're coming through here so that you're on this track. You want to ride up against this tree. It's better to get caught up down here, because then you're through if you get a bad shot, than it is to get caught up here, because up here is OB, because you will bounce into this area and you are out of bounds. But down here you'll come out. You may get caught in the rough, but you'll still come out. So this is the tree. But if you're not doing that shot, or if the wind isn't conducive for doing that shot, and really you need some kind of tailwind. Sidewind might cut it if you have a topspin boost ball, but you really need some help to try and get all the way over without a topspin boost ball. But otherwise, we're going to hit it out into this area and then bring it up to the cup without getting in that sand. And I can't remember how to do that shot, so I'm going to just take my number 2 bag. My number 2 bag, and I think you can do this with a katana. So I'm going to take a katana. I want the side span. Trying to make it around the band. It's good. I don't have a lot of gameplay on this, and like most of the shots that I've taken to the other side, even against a headwind, just to see what was possible. Because like if you can get to the other side over there, you'll get caught in the rough, but you won't be OB. But it is important to know how to do both shots on this hole. And I think I'm going to bring that bag instead. I'm going to do like 2 top spin. We'll see. 2.6, 1.5 per ring. And I'm going to do a 3. Max curl. No overpower. Hitting it perfect. And see if I put too much spin on it. Yeah, I think I did. Okay, perfect. Perfecto. I think this is with a long iron. And I'm going to play my, if it is with my long iron, I'm going to play my long iron at 0.9 per ring. Now you're not going to make that with a 3-power ball. Well, maybe. You might be able to get into the rough here, but you're not going to clear the rough with a 3-power ball. There you go. Topspin boost. There we go. That actually might be even a better way to go. If you can make it over the sand. I don't think yeah, they did. Yeah, that might be actually even a better way to go. But you have to deal with the sand at the very end, and you have no control at the very end. So it would be... And you can see with a little bit of tailwind there, they definitely would have made that. I'm going to explore that side. Almost made it into Hornet range. I'm at minimum grizzly. It's 1.4 per ring. So 2.7 divided by, it would be like 2 rings. I'm going to do 2-1. I'm going to add 1 on. I'm going to do 2-2. There's 2, 2. Oh, that great killed me. I think that was in the hole. Ooh. So I'm going to do min club, which is 1.4 plus 0.2. That is an APOC. A katana. I'm making notes here. Katana, and then grizzly. And I had 2 topspin on, but I'm going to try 2.5. I had a little bit of room out there. I'm not sure on my arc, though. When you think about shot to the cup, whether you'd get closer if you went further out. I'll draw it out here as soon as we get done with these shots. How did they not make that? Watching, I'll miss my putt. In the hole. All right, all right. Oh, they were in the rough. That's the deal. They didn't hit it perfect. I was trying to remember where I was at in my shot here. I was already daydreaming about the deal. And what I'm talking about there is if you go from the tee box, so where I ended up kind of like in this area right here. And so if you draw the line from the tee box to the spot, if you can draw a straight fucking line, and then you draw a line to the tee, and you do the arc, your shot arc. If I hit it any farther, so like here's the shot arc, if I hit it, and let's say I was right at the apex, if I hit it any farther, I'm actually making my shot to the cup longer, even though I may be, you see what I'm saying, you're outside of the arc. And so are you really getting closer to the cup, or is there a spot, or are you actually hitting to this spot, and what you want to be is hitting to this spot? So like there's a spot that's actually closer out there that my angle may be like this, but I actually may be closer. Or is there a spot? I need to actually go back and watch the video and really pay attention to what's going on right here, because I was right at minimum club, and if I could pick up a little bit of distance closer to the cup, like maybe instead of trying to land out here by the sand, really try and stick it up here at the top. Like the deal is if you put on backspin and you're using left hand side spin, the backspin doesn't take effect until the ball touches the ground the very first time. And what it'll do is it'll jerk your ball in the direction that you're using side spin, and we've got curl, so it'll make it pull it so that maybe we could ride up closer to the top and actually get into short iron range. Because if you can get into short iron range here instead of long iron range, you're in the money. This might be this might be a spot where you bring out a 4-4-4 ball, even if you're taking this shot over here, so that when you get to the second shot, number one, the 4 side spin is going to help you get up into this area, and number two, the second shot's going to be shorter because you've got a 4 power ball instead of a 3 or a 2, and so you'll be able to push yourself up into your. And I think that's exactly the way to go here, is a 4-4-4. Or you could use a 3. I had a 2 power ball, so a 3 power ball would have pushed me forward. I would have been in max short iron. The thing about, I use a Kingfisher, and a Kingfisher doesn't have a lot of topspin. I prefer to take shots with my short iron where I engage 1 or more backspin. I usually use 1, but like 1.5 to 2 is probably a better number. But if you engage a little bit of backspin, it does 2 things. Number one, you have better control of the ball, and number 2, when you pull the ball guide closer to you, so like here's where you're hitting, and you got a bounce number 1, and then you got bounce number 2 and bounce number 3, and then the ball guide flattens out. The closer you pull it to you and the shorter these get, the more this flattens out on the other side. So if you've got a club that's got ball guide, the closer you can get it to you by putting that little bit more, either pulling it to you or putting a little bit more backspin on it, will pull it to the point where the ball guide flattens out in front of you, and then you can really get a look at it. Whereas if you run topspin on it, the ball guide goes more to what its number is. So instead of it'll say 3-9, but if you could pull it back closer to you and put on more backspin, then it'll flatten out, if that makes any sense at all. I've drawn all over the screen. We've talked about, okay. I got some notes for that hole because I want to learn. I actually haven't played it on the lower side. However many, I think we've only played that hole maybe once or twice, and I've always played it to the top, and I've just gone for it every time. There you have it. Hole number 9. What is hole number 9? Let's see if I can get. I used my pen, so I gotta. Hole number 9. That might be Dunner telling me he's not quite home. All right, so let's see which way the wind's blowing, because I will tell you, okay, what I'm working on here. Let me grab a bag here. I only have one berserker ball, unfortunately. I only have one. I do have some of those 4-4-4s. Those will work. I want to try it with some different balls, but there is a 100% kick-ass max overpower hook shot that you can do, and there's a little red tree right here. That's your starting point. So depending on what club and ball you want to bring out, and you can bring out a quasar, you can bring out a katana, you can bring out. We're on the side spin side, so like if you wanted to bring out a bigger ball, like it'd be Kingmaker, we're looking for side spin to get us around the bend, and there's several ways that you can play it. You can try and clip the rough and then bleed out. There's a lane, the pins in the original configuration, and so there's a lane that goes through here, and you can do a rough bump if you bring a sniper. If you get up close enough up here where you're in long iron range, you got to have a long iron that's got enough topspin to get you that far, and I don't know that a grizzly might, maybe, but a Goliath would definitely. Or you can try and clear it right here so it gets bounce-ity, bounce-ity, bounce, and it just rolls out into that area. I'm actually trying to get up here to see if I can clear these trees. And I've been close to clearing those trees, but I haven't cleared those trees yet where I had a straight up shot. I've ended up in the rough. I ended up in the rough out here trying to get enough angle and I ended up behind the trees, but I was able to hit through them, luckily. Otherwise, I would have had to bring it around. I'm just going for a different spot. There is another way that you can play this hole too. If you don't like doing the max overpower hook shot, there is another way that you can play this hole, and you can bring out pretty much any driver in your bag. A 3 power ball works better. And you want to have your big dog or your cataclysm, and you can hit it down into this zone right here, and then you can just bring it around. And it may be a blind curl shot where what you do is you take the red line, and wherever the red line intersects with this rough area, so wherever it intersects with this rough along this line, you pull yourself out and give yourself 2 rings of separation away from this rough. And if you're going to use max curl, you give yourself 3. And you set the ball up out in this area. You can pull it back from the red line if we've got any kind of headwind, so that you can work the wind direction out. And with a big dog, you can put on, you've got tons of topspin. So what you're looking for out here is you're looking for your, because of your arc, you're looking for your ball guide to be about right in that area. Somewhere out in this area right here, so that when you put the curl on it, it goes from right here on the arc, and it ends up out here in the fairway, and then just bleeds up to the green. So with most big dogs, even if you were in this situation right here and you put max curl on it, you're going to be somewhere splitting the difference and go right down the middle of the fairway. So you can just follow this line down, and the only thing you'll have to adjust is how much topspin you put on it, because the side spin and the curl are going to go on it to bring you back over the cup. You have, in my opinion, you have a 0% chance of Albie, but you have an almost every time eagle, because you're going to be up in this area. You got a nice chip or a nice way to get up there. But that's only if you've got low level stuff and you don't like doing a rough or max overpower hook. You really want to do the max overpower hook shot. And I can't even remember how to do the max overpower hook shot. Let's see. Let's not burn a better ball here. I'll do the max overpower hook shot so we can see, and we'll just figure it out. I'll take my number 2 bag. I don't think you have to put a lot of stuff on it, but we'll see. I know you do 10% on the drive. If I remember correctly, you do 10% on the drive. Dunner says he's having to work 12 hours today, so it'll be a long day. See what my opponent's doing. I can't see what my opponent's doing. 3, 5, 5. And the 5 wind, I will tell you that the second shot here, if you're ending up in the lane, the main lane up at the top, going at it with a with your sniper or your wood, or excuse me, sniper or your wood or your long iron, that that second shot, you do have a great second shot. Hitting that rough is not, I think they still have a great lane from here. .1, that'd be a 5.5. I have no idea where that's going to go. We'll see. That is perfect. I like hitting the rough, but there are certain wind angles that will push you. You have to adjust a little bit different for them, because they'll push you. If you put the stuff to hit the rough and stick, if you actually clear the rough, I think it's plus 10 at max. Opponent is close. Let's see if we can get in the hole. Dunner made this. Did we make this the other day? I didn't get quite enough distance. Three eight. It's 4.18 rings. And I hit it one ring great to the right. If I was going to hit it one way or the other great, that was the way. That'd have been close. Not quite enough distance. I put a little bit of backspin on that. And I think if I'd have put like either no spin on it or just a titch of top spin, I might have cleared that rough. But the question there is whether it's too much to get you, because you can roll out. I'm gonna try half a top. With my other account, with I've got a bigger ball selection in 77, and I'm going for the other side to see if you can get out there into your short iron range. And the reason I'm doing that is because I think this is one of the holes that they had new pin configuration, and the new pin configuration is down low, and if you can get down into that area, that's the way. But that way also works for the current pin configuration. But the shot that we're taking right here, trying to go through that lane, does not, and I repeat, does not get you a killer Albie shot on the new configuration. I think you still have an Albie shot, but it's not as killer. All right, what did we shoot here on the front? A minus 14. And there's two other people at minus 14. Sean and Birdmaster. Would they come in with a 13? What did I come in with? I think I came in with a 12. And I dropped one. I timed out. I timed out on hole number 1. All right, that's not too bad. We're looking for minus 15 per side. So there are some tougher par 4s in here, but there are par 4s that are makeable. So we need to be picking up 3 per side to keep up with the Joneses. All right, thanks for watching. That was the front 9 of the Star Spangled Banner Tournament in the opening round of the rookie division. I'm going to take a short break, and then I'm going to shoot the back 9. And then when Dunner gets off, hopefully we can get a round in today. I'm supposed to play D&D today, so I may have too many things going on. We'll see. Thanks for watching.